Well, the trade war of words intensifying today as President Donald Trump threatening to hike tariffs on Canadian goods. The clash began this weekend when Canada walked away from the trade talks. Tomorrow, Canada is expected to announce retaliatory tariffs against the U.S., and we could feel the impact here in Northeast Ohio. Fossey Prokos spoke to a local economist.
The border sits just across the lake, and although the escalating trade dispute seems like a fight between Washington and Ottawa, economic experts say the northern tier of the states will be the first to feel the burn.
I think it is going to affect Ohio. The United States' biggest trading partner is Canada, and the states that trade mostly with Canada are the northern border, whether it's Maine and Vermont and New York and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin. We're the biggest trading area with, so we're the ones who are going to be impacted.
That's economist John Burke. The biggest hit to Ohio's pocketbook? Automobiles. Car parts frequently cross the border several times during assembly. Under the proposed 50% automotive tariffs, prices are expected to skyrocket.
I think the first impact will be in automobiles, because automobiles cross that border several times, back and forth. They make a part of the car and they ship it over here. We make a part of the car, ship it back to them. They make a part of the car. It crosses the border several times. And that's why a lot of the automobile factories, a lot of the automobile parts factories are here.
It isn't just cars in jeopardy, because the electrical grid is interconnected nationwide. If Ontario cut power off up north, it could instantly send electricity bills surging for Ohio families.
Years ago, there was a problem in Akron. I think a tree fell on the transformer. The whole East Coast got blacked out because of that tree in Akron affecting the grid. The grid is all interconnected.
Agriculture, Ohio's largest industry, is also on the chopping block. Farmers exporting milk and cheese are already preparing for tighter margins, while bans on U.S. whiskey have already disrupted liquor markets.
A sales tax always affects the people on the lower side of the income scale. So the lower income people, the middle class income people, are going to be the ones who get hurt by this tariff.
Fossey Prokos, 19 News.